Good evening, everybody. Thank you for coming. I truly appreciate all of you coming. 6 o'clock, probably 100. But we wanted to do this meeting for a couple of reasons. One, since I've been here and even before, we've been talking about safety. And we're talking about things to do to protect yourself from becoming victims. I'm going to be speaking, everyone's going to be speaking a little bit slower. We have a Mandarin translator available to emergency. That was provided on a link to the information for this grant. Don't have access, we'll find access for you. Yang An is our translator, and she'll be helping us.
There might have been a little blank right there for a second.
So no one knows that we have a translator and services. There's a link on Instagram. Yan is our translator to see. Joining us tonight is our mayor, Gretchen Shepherd-Rowan. Calvin Lowe. There you go. Looking over your head. And anyone else? And I have our city manager who's here, please, Eskandar. And our newest public safety commissioner, Brian, and I just went for it. Davis, Brian Davis is here. My partner from another mother. We're gonna, each of the detectives and officers are gonna introduce themselves, and they have specific information they're going to provide. We're not just gonna give you general information, we're gonna be very specific about things you should do. We have some statistics that support those reasons why you should be doing things like alarms and cameras and watching out for people and calling us. We're going to show you a couple of videos that might be a little unnerving, and but it's a reality. Recently, we've had an increase in residential burglaries. We're not having home invasion robberies. We're not having people come in at night while you're asleep. Fortunately, those two things aren't happening. But while you're awake, while your house looks empty, or everyone has left, we know about when these burglaries are occurring, the latest ones that we've had. And we want to make you aware so you can make yourself safe. I can talk for a long time, so I'm not going to talk anymore. And I'm going to have Danny Gutierrez, who's my detective supervisor, start us off with a couple of videos.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Danny Gutierrez. I'm a detective sergeant. Thank you for taking some time from your busy day to join us to help us fight crime. What we're talking about here is we're going to be talking about burglaries that are up on the rise, not just here, but all over Southern California. We're going to show you a couple videos here that that took place during Halloween and in Irvine.
Wow.
The Garden Grove family pleading for help tonight after burglars steal all their valuables from their home. This happened on Halloween night.
And in a sophisticated but cruel twist, the crooks made sure that they would not be interrupted while carrying out that crime, which was all caught on camera. Chris Wolf joining us live from Garden Grove tonight, where he spoke with that homeowner. Chris.
Yeah, Rick and Karine, this poor family in a gated community, no less, as you said, was hit on Halloween night in what has become known as a dinner time burglary. We're talking about something that happens typically between the hours of 6:30 and 10 p.m. when people are out to dinner or out with friends, and the psychological toll far outweighs the financial loss. Caught on camera, one case, what appears to have been a brazen burglary blitz on Halloween night. With criminals across Southern California choosing to take advantage of that holiday, as many people were out at parties or trick-or-treating with their kids. Home security cameras along Gardenia Avenue in Garden Grove captured hooded thieves at work, snatching valuables from a home they had broken into shortly before 9 p.m., disabling much of the security system and busting through the front door, possibly with a crowbar. The loot included expensive handbags, jewelry, watches, cash, and a massive safe holding guns and important items. That was a big safe,
Humongous, it was like 700 pounds,
5 feet high.
5 feet tall, you know, gun saver.
They had no problem taking that.
No, I mean, two guys moving 700 pounds is pretty hard to do. But these guys did it. I just felt like, wow, these guys are taking forever. The cops could have been running with them.
The loss involving stolen property alone is approaching $250,000, according to the victims.
This is your temple. This is your, comfort zone, your protected palace. I just feel like it's stripped out of us, and it doesn't feel the same anymore.
I now don't feel safe in my own house. I don't feel safe being alone. Yeah, I'm constantly feeling anxiety with every little sound in this house. So yeah, I mean, they definitely robbed my peace.
But there's more, and an angle that brings this crime to a new level. After studying security footage and comparing notes, the victims discovered the culprits followed them to a Halloween party 20 minutes from home and disabled their vehicle, slashing a tire, then returned to the neighborhood to strike.
It's either we move to a different city, different state, but like, I just don't feel good here anymore.
I just have enough. Like this whole state's out of it's lawlessness, gone wild,
The victims are now offering a $5,000 reward for any information leading to arrests or recovery of their stolen property. Anyone.
Irvine community on edge tonight after a series of home burglaries over the past few weeks. Residents of the upscale gated community say that they are concerned about their safety after burglars have targeted at least 8 homes, including one that turned into a home invasion.
Now residents are calling on law enforcement to take action and better protect their homes. KTLA's Mary Beth McDade joins us live in Irvine tonight. Mary Beth.
Yes, and Mike and Chair, these residents tell us that despite living inside a gated community, that both burglaries and robberies are on the rise. And we also spoke with Irvine Police to find out what they're doing to crack down on these crimes. Security cameras have captured several break-ins in the Groves and Orchard Hills. It's a guard-gated community with multi-million-dollar homes in Irvine. Residents who are too afraid to reveal their identity say they're living in fear because of this string of burglaries and robberies in the past few months.
We're on our 8th now, and it's just mind-boggling for me because it's just very unsettling.
Some residents have had hidden cameras surveilling their homes.
It was installed in bushes so that they could see like the house.
In one instance, the thieves broke in through a back door and stole millions in handbags and jewelry.
When I spoke to them, they were like just trembling, like shaking in trauma. And the grandmother was actually inside the house while this all happened.
In another incident, distraught residents tell us a gun was used.
Was at gunpoint. Someone was tied up, like the lady just mentioned before. That is really scary.
Residents want security beefed up in this community and the city and police to do more.
We need to see some action.
We spoke to the HOA president about residents' concerns.
Here today to reassure the community that we are working very closely with Irvine Police.
Irvine police say, unfortunately, the Southern California area, not just Irvine, is experiencing professional residential burglaries committed by transnational groups. Authorities want residents to know, though, that they're taking these break-ins very seriously.
They've dedicated an extreme amount of resources to this issue, some that are easily seen and some that aren't. We have officers on extra patrols, we have undercover resources, we have surveillance teams out here, we have video cameras, we're using our real-time crime center.
And the Irvine Police Department is going to be holding a town hall tomorrow evening at the Groves to let residents know what they're doing to stop these break-ins and also
It's very disturbing. Unfortunately, burglaries are on the rise. We're not the only ones dealing with burglaries, other cities. What you see here posted up will be the 2024 statistical crimes. For 2023, for total combined burglaries, it's a commercial and residential. We had 66 cases. As of yesterday, we had a total of 83. You see the difference between residential and from 2023 to 2024. 2023, we had 59, 2024, we're up to 70, 17% increase, 11 cases of difference. For commercial burglary, we had 7 burglaries in 2023 and 13 so far for 2024. We have an increase of 60%. Grand theft and petty larceny in 2023 we had 9 cases, and in 2024 we have 106 cases. We need to work together, the community and the police department. Here's a heat map of where these burglaries are taking place. If you see, this is Virginia Road right here. So a lot of our burglaries are happening west of Virginia, Mission District, Los Robles, La Mirada, Oak Knoll, Shenandoah, Monterey, and there's some here on the north end of Circle, Encino, Virginia. You'll see some sporadic just above Lincoln Park, and the other area will be a northeast portion of our city. So when doing our analysis, our detectives, it's my job to determine where are they entering, how are they entering. When patrol goes out to a call, they determine a point of entry and a point of exit. Out of the 70 homes here today, 38 of those 70 were forced rear door or window, meaning that suspects entered by breaking a glass door, French door, or a window on the backside of the house. 10 of those 70 were a forced side door window. It could be any door or window on the side of your home. And 8 of the 70 were second story window or door. And 14 of those 70 were unsecured doors. You'll be amazed how many doors are just unsecured. People don't lock it. It's important that when you do leave your residence, whether you're going out for a 20-minute walk or out for several hours, that you walk your property, make sure all your doors are locked and secure to help prevent intent burglaries. I want to pass this off to my partners, Adriana Archuleta and Jocelyn Heredia, and she'll talk more about what's been taken.
Good evening, everyone. We appreciate you guys being here. So as you can see from the first 2 videos that we've shown at the beginning of this PowerPoint, these burglars, they're getting bold. They're coming into these gated communities. You would think, okay, living in a gated community would feel safe. Well, if they see an opportunity, they're going to take it. So it's important that we look out for each other. Let your neighbors know when you're going to be gone, whether you're on vacation or if you're gonna go out to dinner with your family, because you don't know who's watching your house. It's also important to, if you guys have safes that inside your home, it's important to bolt them down to the ground or mount them onto the wall, because as you can see in those videos, these thieves are taking every opportunity to take those safes in broad daylight or during the nighttime where people can easily see it on the roadway. So if you see something, say something, call our non-emergency dispatch or call 911. It's important that we do get that direct information from you guys, so that way we can respond appropriately. Be vigilant, know your neighbors, start a group chat with your neighbors. It doesn't hurt to, be in the know of when your neighbors are gone, so that way you guys can look out for each other. We need you guys as much as you guys need us, so it's important that we work together so we can deter these burglars from, targeting this community.
Good evening, everyone. So as it's been mentioned a couple times already, we've noticed higher burglary statistics with it being the holidays. A lot of our residences here, obviously, we know the city's very dark, we don't have much lighting. The residences that we have noticed have been broken into, they don't have their lights on, so the property to burglars seem to be vacant. There, they believe that nobody's home. A lot of them, they'll case the area during the day to observe any sort of activity throughout the day, so they'll become familiar with whether people are in and out of the house throughout the day, or they'll become familiar with when the property is being unoccupied. A lot of the times they'll do a door knock, so they'll go up to your door, they'll knock and make sure that, to confirm that nobody's home before they break in, and usually it's through the rear of the property. Because of the holidays, a lot of our residents go out of town. They'll, again, we'll also have extra guests in the property. So they'll know there's more property inside for them to take. With it being the holidays as well, Christmas, we have guests sell around our tree, so they'll break in and they'll take a lot of that stuff. Or also, we have a lot of package deliveries, and a lot of the times they'll be left out front. They'll also notice that they're not being brought inside, indicating that nobody's home, so they'll take that as well. They'll take that as an opportunity to break in. Up here, we have a lot of property that's very popular that they seek to take. US currency, Asian currency, loose dollars, money that people have, whether it's in a safe or it's just being stored in any, in a designated drawer. Jewelry, a lot of higher end jewelry, a lot of brands that we've become familiar with are Cartier, expensive Rolexes, Tiffany Co, anything gold related they can take. Electronics are not so much one of our popular property that we take, because they know that it's easily traced, especially with Apple products. We're able to use that, find my Apple product, which they don't want anything that can be traced. A lot of electronics that are taken are more so photography equipment. How many of us here enjoy purchasing luxury handbags? That's one of our most popular item that's taken thousands of dollars worth in luxury handbags. As we know, they're very expensive, and a lot of the issues that we face when attempting to identify property when we do recover it is linking it to our victims, because these bags a lot of the times are in serial. They don't have serial numbers, they don't have tags. A lot of our residents don't personalize their items. So it's really hard to link it with being yours as opposed to it being stolen from somebody else, because a lot of these items are very common. How many handbags don't they make that look exactly the same? So it's very important that if you do own expensive luxury handbags, that you do either personalize them, that you have receipts, that you register them. Something that you're able to identify it as being yours. So that way it helps us if in case we do happen to recover any of that property. Again, that was already previously mentioned, safes. A lot of people keep safes in the designated master bedroom, which is the room that all these burglars go directly to because it's the place where most of our expensive property is located. So it's really important that if you're gonna keep a safe in the master bedroom, you bolt it to the ground so that they're not able to take it, because as we saw previously in the video, these burglars don't have, that's not gonna stop them regardless of how heavy it is from taking it, and a lot of the times we handbags, gold bars, cash, guns, so it's important that you register all of your stuff, that you know exactly what you have in the safe when you're not occupying it and you're not just leaving stuff out or leaving the safes unattended. Also consider keeping a safe somewhere where you wouldn't think, these burglars would go to directly. We know, like I mentioned previously, they target the master bedroom a lot, so maybe consider moving your safe to a different room, a guest bedroom, something that looks like it's not occupied frequently, because then they won't think to technically go directly to that area to steal a safe, especially if you keep multiple valuables around.
It also doesn't hurt to put Apple AirTags in those safes. If you do notice that your safe is missing and you have that Apple AirTag in there, it's easily trackable. If you do own expensive properties such as bags, watches, jewelry, just take inventory of what you have, take pictures. If you have receipts and serial numbers, it doesn't hurt to create an Excel spreadsheet with that property. So in the event if your house does get burglarized, at least you have everything in inventory. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Jesse Reese, been with the department for almost 5 years. And here's a couple more pointers for safes. I know my partners touched a lot on placement, placing a GPS tracker. That's something new that we are recommending for residents. Just because, the safe, they're not gonna open it right then and there. They're gonna take it to a safe location and, pry it open at a later time. So let's say, your home gets burglarized, we get notified, at least you can give us the location of the safe. We can start responding and taking action to try and recover your property and ultimately make an arrest. So here's a couple more pointers in regards to safes as well. Another idea that we're having, since they're targeting a lot of main bedrooms, we're thinking of maybe telling the public, how about having a decoy safe? A small little safe, put it in your main bedroom, throw a bunch of junk in there, a tracker, in case, you are a victim. They take the decoy safe with a bunch of trash. Regardless, a break-in is a break-in, right? They took your property, the safe is worth something. So same thing, we can track it, get the location, get all our resources together and hopefully locate the suspects and recover your decoy safe and take them to jail. I'm gonna talk about alarms and cameras. So with alarm systems, a lot of times, we've noticed that people buy their homes and they don't reassess or take a look at their security system. They think just because they have a security system in place, that it's good, that it works, and that they're covered. But we're finding that a lot of times, for example, a lot of doors and windows are not armed. These burglary suspects know that second stories back in the day was not a common thing to arm. And nowadays they're making a lot of break-ins through the second story. So think about that, include basement doors, vents that lead to the basement, to the crawl space of your home. Motion sensors and glass break sensors in as many rooms as possible. And another popular place that security companies are alarming is your closets. You know, if you have a break-in, they're gonna go to your closet. They know that we keep a lot of valuables in there, so if they're for some reason crawling because they think that a motion sensor is not gonna pick up because they're crawling around your property, once they stand up and go in your closet, hopefully that motion sensor will, recognize that and notify your alarm system. Have a panic alarm system in case you are home and you have intruders in your property. One of the residents shared that there was people like on their driveway, so he just activated his car, his key fob remote, had the alarm go off, and that kind of spooked the trespasser away. So have that handy near your nightstand in case you're asleep, you hear a noise. Hey, hit that first. Try to get them out of your property before they do anything else. Test regularly, know your system, and know what the protocol is that you have set up. Some alarm companies, they'll call you first before they call us. So, just find out what the setup is as far as if you do have an activation, what their system is, you can have them to call us first, notify us so that we can dispatch officers, and then they can notify the homeowner. Another thing is also maybe have an emergency party contact. So if they can't get a hold of you because you're on vacation or you're asleep, they have an emergency party that they can contact. Hey, we're trying to call this resident, he's not picking up. There's multiple activations in the home and officers are responding. Know your service provider. And then for the alarm system, lockbox. Secure the hardware in a hidden place, maybe a closet with a secured box, metal box. We are finding that they're ripping the keypads off the wall. For some security companies, that doesn't do anything. They have a backup system. So we'll still be notified, we'll still be dispatched, but they'll ruin your walls. So that's something to think about. For cameras, all access points of your property, so 360 degrees, front, sides, and rear. High resolution cameras with audio. So we have 4K night vision, same thing as your alarms. We're buying homes, and just because they have an alarm system, a lot of the times we're finding that they don't have the password to replay video, or the quality is not great and it's outdated. So, have that assessed. Technology is always changing. A lot of these security companies or alarm companies are using AI technology. So that's also something good to have. Motion activated with notifications, just like our Ring devices. Those are good things to have and keep an eye on. I have a security system with motion activation. So, if somebody's in my backyard, the kids or the pets, I know that they're out there. I'm able to keep an eye on them from work. And, if you're on vacation, that also should be working. Make sure that they're hardwired and securely mounted and out of reach. We've seen that they tend to try to reach for cameras and turn them away from view or cover them up. For maintenance, let's keep them clean. Let's keep vegetation away from the cameras. Landscaping lights, you don't want them pointing to your cameras because it'll cause a glare. We're gonna see silhouettes on video versus having a crisp image of our suspects. And also be familiar, be able to know how to download video. Let's say you have an incident, dispatch is gonna ask you, are you able to share that video? Are you able to download video and share it with dispatch? Usually that they ask that because they'll get that video, they'll forward it to police officers responding to the call, supervisors, so they can start game planning what they're gonna, so they can know what they're looking for and how to make approach. These are a couple of stats of what we're seeing with our recent burglaries for this year. So homes with security cameras, 37%. Homes with no cameras, 57%. Homes with cameras not working, 6%. Alarm systems, activated alarms, 34%. Not activated, 12%. Homes with no alarms, 54%.
So know your system, updated. It's just like our phones. It's good to, you know, stay up to date and have the newest and latest technology. Actions taken, intelligence sharing with regional task force surrounding local agencies. For example, today we spent hours with a local agency. We sat down with them. We told them the issues we're having. We found that we had common, you know, incidents, and we shared some intel. Undercover operations, patrol in unarmed vehicles. We've been doing a lot of that lately. Every year, you know, we know it happens. So we dress like this and drive around the city in unmarked vehicles. We tend to cover the heat map areas or blocks with low light conditions or homes that are dark. Saturation details include extra patrol with officer deployments, so same thing as above in the targeted areas. Public notifications to social media, the city website, and other media groups. In the past 2 weeks, we had 4 attempted burglaries where no entry was made. So that's because, you know, because of these details, we're driving around with our lights on. So you may see us driving around at a low speed with our spotlights on, or maybe like our rear emergency lights on. And it looks like it's deterring some of this crime. It's costing a lot of overtime. It's costing us to be away from our families, but at the end of the day, it's worth it. We want to keep you guys safe, and we're here for you guys. I'll pass it on to Commander Lane.
Thank you, Jesse. Commander Blondie overseeing our support services, which is our detective bureau. In this slide, you're gonna see some stuff that's slightly repetitive, but as you know, some of the stuff in this presentation will be repetitive because it's stuff that we're seeing continue from, you know, years past. The first thing you see there is timely reporting. Why is that important? Because our response time is affected by that reporting. Jesse had mentioned the alarm companies and what was actually mentioned previously. If you can, you have an alarm and it's functioning and you have the ability to talk to your alarm company, let them know that you want us notified first. I know that seems kind of odd. You want to know first because it's your house, but they're going to notify you anyways. What you want is you want us responding as quickly as possible. And that's a fact, because time is on their side. So some of the things that we haven't talked about yet, or that I'll just touch on real quick, is jammers. You guys have probably heard about them or seen them. What jammers do is they block a frequency. That frequency can be a phone, an electronic device, an alarm, a camera, whatever it might be. But they all work on frequencies. So they have a jammer that is able to touch your frequency, and you have a system that is not backed up by a hard wire or hard line, and it's only by internet or power, then technically they can block that. So what that means is when they get there, if they pick up the frequency and they arrive, they may not pick up their motion. They may not pick up the glass breakage. They may not pick up the motion inside the house, but it picks it up when they walk out. You know what I'm saying? So it's not picking up during the commission of the crime, it's getting them as they walk out. Again, this is why it's important for us to know right away for the reporting, because they've already got a head start. They're out the front door, they're headed to their car, if they have those jammers. The jammers are governed not by us. Chief can probably touch on that a little bit. There's legislature they're working on to bring that to the forefront so we can do something about it. The issue right now is that just about anybody can get one. So if you have the ability to get online or go on Amazon to purchase something, you can probably get yourself a jammer of some sort. Typically, the more antennas you see on them, the more sophisticated they are, and the more they're going to block. So this is why we need you to make sure that we know. If you don't have an alarm, unfortunately, if you don't have an alarm, but you have video, you have cameras, and you see it, what you got to do, you got to call us right away. The important part of that is that you got to let us know what you see. You got to identify what it is you see that they belong on your property. We don't care if you're calling us about someone you don't think belongs there, but it turns out they do. It's a repairman or whatever. We have that often. Patrol knows we have that from time to time. We don't care about that. Is if you give them the chance and it's not that repairman and it's someone that's trying to burglarize your home, again, it's too late by the time we get there because they're already gone. So key thing is to where are they at on the property? Where are they, what they look like, what are they wearing, what direction they're headed, do they have any objects in their hand, where are they wearing a backpack? A lot of these, the commonality is dark clothing, backpacks, typically some kind of surgical mask or mask, and then the hoodies on or a beanie or a hat, so they're pretty much covered. So those are a lot of the commonalities, but you gotta let us know all that, whether it's color, whether it's colored clothing, dark clothing, et cetera. Dispatch is gonna ask you for all that, so don't feel like they're prying if they ask you where they at, what, you know, they want your personal information, they want to know who you are. Because we wanna make sure that when we get there, we're not coming in contact with you or someone that belongs on the property, we wanna make sure that whoever we're detaining or talking to is the person that does not belong. So they're gonna ask you all that stuff. Something else that we deal with as far as from the detective side is, it's very, very important that once you call us out there, if we do get in touch with somebody, we make contact or detain someone, make an arrest, hopefully, we need the support of the victim being the homeowner for prosecution. It's not to say we're not gonna keep that arrest moving forward or that we're not gonna move forward with it. The problem is that when it gets to the DA's office for prosecution purposes, if we don't have a willing victim or that's gonna help out and testify that, you know, their house was burglarized, what they saw, et cetera, then the case is weakened by that. So this is another reason why we need good quality images, like Jesse mentioned, because our district attorneys, I don't mean the district attorney, I mean the district attorneys that are filing, they want to see good images so that they can identify somebody. We don't want to misidentify someone. We don't want the case to be weakened by, you know, faulty, you know, or poor images. So, that is why we need that. Jesse already touched on this a lot about updating your systems. It's just, first thing you need to do, whether you just moved in or you've been there for a while. Recently we talked to people that have either had burglaries at their house or on their block, and they said they haven't done anything in 10 years. The product may still be good, but in 10 years, there's a lot of technological advances, so our suggestion is you update it. You can't afford to update them all, update them periodically, just get something in there and look at the key areas of your house, the approach to the house, back of the house, that type of stuff, so. Safes real quick, we did talk about safes and find a spot, whether it be another room or your garage. Ideally, if you can get it on concrete, that's probably one of the best, something that's strong, not to say a hardwood floor is not strong, but a concrete floor in a garage in an area that's off to the side that no one sees, you cover it up with a blanket. I know a lot of these safes are decorative and they have nice finishes on them and they're meant to be showpieces, but just think about it. I mean, if it's enticing or looks nice to us, it's gonna look really nice to a suspect. So when you get it in that garage and you mount it, you're gonna want somebody who's professionally knows what they're doing to bolt it to the ground, right? There's bolts from the inside of the safe that bolt that safe to the ground. So literally you can't move it unless you're able to get something under it to cut every one of those bolts that you put into the bottom of the safe. I won't go into lighting anymore. We just want you to make sure your house is well lit, whether it be from the inside, if you want it completely dark. You can have timers and all that kind of stuff. Maybe when you leave the house, you set a timer or you have a smart light that when you leave, like they mentioned, right? There's that dinner time burglary, right? You go out to eat with your family. Maybe you set it to where you leave, the light was on. Someone's walking up to your house, sees the light was on and says, wait, I thought they just left. You know, maybe that's gonna deter them and think, oh, maybe there's actually somebody inside. So just consider some of those things. This then goes into neighborhood watch, and it's kind of stuff we're talking about. It's a partnership, right? We can do what we do, but we need to work with the community, but not just us working with you. We need you to work with your neighbors. What we find a lot of times is that neighbors don't know each other. There's a new neighbor that moves in, and they're, you know, typically we'll find out, it's like, well, I'm interested in neighborhood watch, but my neighbor's not. We'll do what we can to help you get those meetings going, but that's the key. Like, if you don't have a neighbor next door that you can say, pick up my mail, please, when I'm gone on vacation, pick up the boxes that get delivered, then you gotta get that. You gotta find that neighbor you can trust. Real quick, I'm gonna introduce Frank Leestro. He's a sergeant on our patrol. He currently oversees our neighborhood watch. He's at the back of the room here. Had his hand up, now he's back up again. Frank's information, we do not have it right here, but we can pass it out. And Frank, do you want to do a quick introduction or?
Sure.
Yourself?
Hello, hi, my name is Frank Leestro, Sergeant, overseeing neighborhood watch. See a lot of neighborhood watch people already here. That's awesome. Thank you. Most of you were on the Zoom meeting we had 2 months ago. Commander Bonner was mentioning, overseeing the watch program right now. We just have a whole new crew of officers who are assisting, so kind of bear with us. I do know last week we did send out a list for block captains. If you got that email, please respond. I'm trying to compile a new list. But like Commander Bode was also saying, you're our allies, you're the best eyes and ears that we have. So really work with your neighbors. I will be here after the meeting. I can give you my card, if you don't already have it, or my email, and, I can provide you some more information. If not.
On the email we received, we were told that we were gonna have time to make some comments here at the meeting, so I was wondering, I'll make sure that we have enough time for that, because we did start late.
Okay, yeah. Commander Bonnet, Dan, see on this, and so I'll be back to him. I'm sure we'll have time for that.
Yeah, we'll go to overtime for sure. We started late, so we'll make sure we address, questions. I'll zoom through this last part. So this has to do with staying informed. If you're not part of, the Instagram or Nixle or the different services that we provide for, notifications, I would strongly encourage you to do that. The Instagram is obviously, our police department. If you have questions, we'll go over that at the end, that's just to save time. A lot of you probably already know about House Check, but you can pay to have your house, on House Watch while you're away. You basically notify us of your name, number, the dates that you're gonna be gone. I know a lot of stuff's frightening, but, basically, people are gonna figure it out anyways if they look at you hard enough and try to figure out where you're going, if you post where you're going. But anyways, House Watch is where we go around your house each day and we check it periodically throughout the day while you're away. You let us know who does and doesn't want there, like your gardeners, people that are gonna be staying in your home. And you have an emergency contact number like we mentioned earlier. So those are all the things that you wanna take advantage of. There's a small fee with the House Watch, so it's currently $5 a day. So, just a consideration. It was kind of brought up, but, the property, if you confront somebody, don't fight somebody for your property. People, don't have really any value for human life these days, as you probably have seen on TV or heard. If they're gonna try and take your watch, or they're gonna try and take something inside your house, God forbid, just let it go. Don't try and, my suggestion is not that you fight back. You don't know what they have on them. You don't know how many of them there are. And this is like a recommendation I'd probably give to a family member, is that even out on the street, you just don't know what they're capable of. You don't know what they're carrying. They get scared, they accidentally shoot or whatever it might be. So just consider how important your life is and your family, and how much you want to see your family after, whatever this interaction is. Passwords and security, again, we touched on. Make sure you have a safe place to store all that stuff. Change your passwords when you can. Don't use the same password for every single one of your accounts. And I know some of you do, because my wife does. I don't, she does. But don't do that. Try to change them. You know how to change passwords. You know how to make them uncommon, and use different symbols and stuff like that. So be aware of your surroundings, especially right now. When you guys are out shopping, like always probably need to. I'm way behind myself, but when you're out shopping, just know where you're at. Know that when you're out shopping, and I know it's easy to do stuff online. That's probably the safest thing these days. But when you're out there, have somebody with you if you can. See who's around you. Park in a well-lit area of these malls and different shopping centers. And then when you're going back to your car, be vigilant. Be aware of what's going around you. Immediately put the stuff in your car and immediately take off. Now there are people watching you, so if you put something in your trunk and you're gonna go on to the next place, just keep in mind the stuff in your trunk. If it was, a lot of people around you, they might have seen where you put it. So it's probably best that you go home, secure it, if you can. So, firearms, again, we talked about it. The serial numbers are important, critical. When we follow up on something after, they can obliterate it or destroy a serial number on your weapon or your firearm, but in the event that they don't, and we recover one, which we have recovered stolen firearms from our city before that were used in other crimes. That part is huge, it's important. I know there's other ways to manufacture guns these days, but if you do have one that's serialized and your standard weapon, make sure you're recording all that. So this is just basic information regarding notifications. It was brought up, but don't ever be fearful of using 911. If you don't know if it's an emergency, you don't know what to do, and you're not sure, you should call our business line, which is the second bullet point there. You can't put that one to memory, you don't have it in your phone. There's one you won't forget, it's 3 digits and 911, so just call us. We don't care about coming out, we don't have a problem coming out, false alarm, whatever it might be. We'll figure that part out, but at least that gives us a chance to get out there. That's the part, again, there on bullet number 3, is if you're in doubt, just call and we'll work it out. There is an anonymous tip line there at the bottom, Crime Stoppers. You can take that if you haven't already. It actually has benefited or has been used by people that we receive tips that way. Some of it very good tips. So if you're ever, fearful of being, a witness or actually being the one to call in, just do that. I mean, we would love to have you as a witness and be willing to come forward and all that, but if you're not, and you got something critical you want to share with us, use that, information there. We're about to, wrap it up to the tail end here. Not a lot of information, I see that, right, but, that has our detectives, contact information, myself, the chief, ways to get a hold of us, both our emails and our phone numbers. Guess I can take call anytime. But if you need to get a hold of us, that's the information, right? So I'm gonna let Chief close and then we'll get quickly into questions.
We have a web address, police@smpd.us. Don't use that to report crimes. Because that's not an urgent way of contacting us. And most of us will come out during the day, we'll get to work, and we'll start looking through our emails. Call the number that was up on the screen. Also, don't text me if there's a crime in progress. Someone texted me the other day, I was down in Orange County. And it's like, please, just contact the station. Don't worry about it, that's what you are paying us to do. That's it for right now, I know there's some questions, Shirley had some question?
Well, I just some statements I wanted to make. Basically, I wanted to thank you all for taking this seriously and, making effective prevention a priority. Thank you. I just want to say thank you for, making this a priority. It's very serious and, effective prevention should be all of our priority. You touched on a few things, insufficient lighting on certain streets, is, I think, a problem. Construction sites also draw crime, and I believe the city should cap the number of active job sites. Porta potties are visible, unsightly, and draw crime. Vacant houses also. Our neighborhood watch signs are old and are rusty, and it sends a message that we don't take this seriously. I believe we need a budget for our neighborhood watch department to get our communities more excited and engaged. I know one of you mentioned pets, but dogs in particular. I have a new rescue bulldog, and I can say I feel a lot safer. And our dogs are wonderful companions to us, and I just encourage everyone to consider having a dog for security and for other reasons. Of course, they must be licensed, so make sure we get those licenses to the unique site. Finally, graffiti on dumpsters and throughout the towns has been a problem. It's very visible. I've seen a dumpster with graffiti on Mission Street in one of the alleys. I haven't had a chance to turn it in, but any of us working, living here should be, as quick as we can to point out graffiti, get it taken away. Dumpsters should be behind barriers, not only for residences, but also for our businesses. And they should have locks on them. We should have more motion detectors at our construction sites, and I really hope the city will consider capping the number of construction sites in the city. It draws crime, and it's a real disruption, and I would really appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We do have extra neighborhood watch signs. They are available, just let us know, and we can either replace those that are too faded, or if you want to have a sign in your neighborhood, I'll make a deal with you. You start a neighborhood watch group, and we'll put up a sign. I'm probably not putting a sign up anyway, but thought I'd try and make a deal with you. Karen.
Are the houses that have been burglarized, did they have fences in front of their houses? Does a fence deter people from breaking into your home?
Thanks, we forgot something. Yes and no. No, because you block the view. If it's a solid fence, You have shrubbery in the front where no one can see the front of the house. It provides an opportunity for suspects to hide. There's not gonna be lights. It's not always an indicator that they're going to key on the house. What they're looking for is, does it look like no one's home? I can go online and I can put down, let's say, the 2000 block of Lorraine. I'll go online, I'll find out who lives in every house. We all can do that. Then I can go on Facebook. I can go on Instagram because I now have your names. And I can figure out some stuff. And then some of us don't do that. But then I can go on, and if you're public, then I go, oh, look, you're in Hawaii right now. So there's all sorts of different ways. These folks are pretty clever. They know what's going on. Be careful of what you post. We have an officer who is trained in crime prevention through environmental design. That's a free service to you. You want us to come out and do an evaluation. No guarantee it's going to stop crime from occurring. But we're going to give you some tips, some ideas of things to do that could prevent a burglary.
There's some good stats on whether doors were locked and unlocked and things like that. I wonder if you have any stats on, of the houses that were burglarized, how many had a dog? And is a dog an effective deterrent running around the house?
That's a good stat. No, I don't have them, but something I could definitely work on. Sorry, that's a good, question. No, I don't have that stat off of my head, but it's something that definitely not going to work on. But good point, thank you.
I just wonder.
To piggyback on what Chief Concho said. When we respond to these, audible alarms or burglaries, we often find gates that are unlocked, or side gates. And the burglaries that are confirmed, it's 9 out of 10 times they enter your rear yard through your side gate that's unlocked. I know for many, you feel it's an inconvenience, but lock that gate. Make it difficult for someone to get onto your property. We had an incident several years back where on the southeast side of town, I remember responded on patrol, got a burglary, burglar jumped the fence, fell, went over, broke table. You know, let's make it difficult for them to get into your property. Just an idea.
To answer your question about the dog though, we had, ones where they've actually fed the dog. They've got stuff out of the fridge. But there was, I don't know if Dan remembers, there used to be a resident here that actually had used to walk up and it was a pressure sensor. It was a recording, and it was almost like Home Alone, like it started, this dog was barking at the front door, I forget what street it was on, but it was pretty fun, but, I mean, there's deterrence, so it's not gonna, for sure.
A couple of questions on jammers. The first thing is, how prevalent are they? Second thing is, I use Post Alarms, and I think they use a cellular network for my alarm system to communicate to the monitoring service. Does that get impacted by these jammers?
Thank you. The jammers, if you want to go on Amazon right now, you can buy them. It can affect it. It depends upon the frequency. When you see a box, it looks like a rectangular box, very thin, and there's a number of antennae. It's like when you set up your Wi-Fi at home, you might have a booster for your Wi-Fi and you increase it by a certain number of antennas. About all I know about that. But the number of antennas are based upon the number of frequencies that they are trying to attack. They're guessing, but also if they know what company, sometimes companies will advertise what kind of equipment they are going to install. Then you go to the web and you look up Acme house alarms, and Acme house alarms tells the coyote, this is what frequency we use. It's not that tough. It's fairly easy. You can order a customized radio frequency jammer online. Also, we're working on legislation right now that California police chiefs have introduced. We have 3 legislators that want to carry the legislation. And also remember, it's a 2-year period that before a law can go into effect. And then we gotta hope that someone signs it at the end.
So how prevalent are the jammers?
We don't know. They seem to be around. We had a photograph of a suspect with a backpack that was empty, that would see a series of antennas. Rather, the backpack that was open. And we had a series of antennas that looked like a radio jammer. That's the first time we've seen
So, but you haven't come across an incident where the alarm was activated and the person used the jammer and the monitoring service never got the call.
That could happen. It can also affect the different parts of your alarm because they may have different frequencies. It's kind of hit or miss for right now. Right here, and then Miriam, and then Dr. Monty.
And then Georgia.
I mean, we had a block party a few months ago, and this was explained to the neighbors. But would you please play this benefit us so that I can share with the neighbors?
Share the slide.
Which slide?
That's the presentation.
I'll give you my business card at the end of the meeting, and then, just email me, and I will email you.
And I can share all these.
Yeah, yeah.
Could you share with all the block captains?
I can,
Thank you.
if that's what you like, I could definitely share with both block captains.
We'll also put it on the website. It's the department and the city website.
I just kind of curious, how many people in the room tonight have been personally affected by a burglary while you've lived in San Marino? So 2 households. Okay, I'm just a little shocked at, there's only 23 people here tonight. And we have all these highly trained professionals that have come to share their experience with us. So I'm just gonna encourage everyone, when you go home, if you don't know your neighbor, next time when you're pulling out to drive to work and you see them over the hedge, great way to introduce yourself is, hey, we had a community safety meeting. I didn't see you there. Here's what I learned.
Thanks, John, and if enough people want us, we'll do this again.
Yes, John, we'd love for you to do it again, but I'd love to see this room full of people. You know, we were here, coffee with the cop the other day. I was one of 3, 4 all day. I was hoping here when I saw all these chairs that there would be a busload coming in, you know, people coming in the building almost. I think we all have a responsibility to reach out to our circles to demand their involvement. We have people everywhere that are neighbors who have cameras everywhere, but they're not here. They don't know all of this. Well, I think we have more police officers than we do residents. I just think that we're better than just watching. We can do more than just watch. And together, we can beat their system. We're bigger than they are, we're stronger than they are. We're more united, we're more focused. So reach out to your friends, bring your captains. We need them. Thank you.
Then who'll be next?
No, I just wanted, go ahead. Okay, I just wanted to comment, I'm pretty loud here. I cannot get my neighbors to come.
Yeah.
That is a problem I have. You know, I have emailed them, I have sent out flyers. I don't know what else to do. I tried my best, but no, all I can do is keep giving them information and hope that they will do what's important.
But then you send them a summary.
The very first block party I ever had the police and fire department, and they all came. Then I had another party, And I said, let's just come as, neighbors to learn and talk with each other. So they did. And I had the next year, I said, let's have an, been there, done that. They don't come. They're not interested. I send an email. I send them flyers. What do they?
But you summarize the meeting and send them the summary.
Yes.
This is what I do.
Well,
I feel I'm representing my farm.
They have never had one person ever respond.
Sergeant Cleese is gonna get creative for you. He's gonna figure it out.
Figure something out.
Yeah, we did all this a few years ago. We actually, with the help of the police, we almost stopped burglaries in San Diego, almost. We have done needed all that stuff. Now these are new companies, much more experienced than the old ones. As to the lights, the video in that closed community, all the houses were very well lit. Not like Portland, they were lit and they had burglaries all over the place. And then in regards to the jamming, I looked up at the last meeting we had at Portland. On Google, you can, if you have a wild alarm, like post, like you post, or other wild alarm, they cannot jam it. No matter what your treatment is.
Mine's wireless.
Wireless is bummer. When it comes to wireless, and you put cameras, you must have to try to use fire. That is possible, and that's not easy.
They can ask questions.
Also, you need to go to the garden and show him what's happening. And we do normally the ground where he sees it, not touch it, let him.
Yeah.
And
you can go.
he has to keep an eye on his car next to your house. Don't go to them. Don't approach them. They are still staying there for too long. Or you police, let them to do. You are not supposed to be interfered. In the last meeting, I also learned about the fact that we have, mentioning, we have total lack of interest in the community with those meetings, or to know each other, or to do anything. So I don't know, and then we have a lot of empty homes. And that is where our biggest problem is. So we need to be very careful to our neighborhood, and then have more meetings like this, not by the residents, not by our captains. I think the police should be in charge of these because they're putting too much burden on those residents and they're not getting any response. So might as well take it to the people who are taking the action.
Before we have any more questions, you be first. Councilmember, you next. And then Miriam again. But to all the folks listening in on our Mandarin line, we have 12 people online. So there we go. They're on, so if they have any questions, they can go on their chat box and ask any questions. So we're asking them if they have any questions, and then we'll answer.
I just wanted to say that it's a tough time of year, so it's tough that it was right now, and I would be more than happy to help in our community if we could get more people.
Thank you. Thanks.
Two questions. So the first one is with regards to those residents where English may not be their first language. Is there a some sort of translation service that the police department offers? And if not, would you recommend that they use one of the translation programs that's online to file a report. Second question, can you give a quick update on the block cameras so that residents knows how that works and with the surrounding communities? And then the third question is there's been a lot of in the news about some burglars that are using hidden cameras that are hooked up to a cellular device, and so they're using that to monitor homes. Have you guys come across any of those incidents here in San Marino? And one last question, as far as the block camera, I know that they can use pictures to kind of track down suspects. I don't know if you can use that same, if you can use videos from like a range or something like that, so also try to track down suspicious suspects.
The first one for translation is kind of all of the above. I would use any resources that they have available, like you were saying, if they had a way to translate themselves. Dispatch has a way to get a hold of a translator, in the event that we need to. We also might have someone on duty that speaks the language, depending on the dialect, day of the week. That's the difficulty, is we don't have someone on every single day. The other thing is we, when it comes to translation, we source out our local cities or jurisdictions, because a lot of times they will have someone that might speak Mandarin or another language that we may not have someone speaking on duty. So those are all the options for that. We even had our officers in the field, I'm pretty sure, I'm not speaking for them, but we've even used ourselves, even the translator on our phones and stuff to try and get something across, and we've actually been able to communicate. But in a critical incident, that's a challenge. If it's something we can take our time, it's a little bit different, but when it's critical, we try to get a translator right away on the phone if possible, and that's the resource for that. Regarding the flock cameras, we still have every flock camera that we had before. Throughout the city, we currently have 40 cameras. Most recently, we're about to move one of them. We're in constant contact, at least myself and Commander Kiroshi, on a regular basis, and Sergeant Gutierrez with them, and that's to enhance them and make sure they're functioning properly. There's upgrades to the camera, or maybe it's not picking up properly in that area, they'll relocate it for us. Or if we feel like we want to change, we can change it at a cost, but they're constantly doing stuff. As far as investigations, I know that Jesse touched on Detective Ruiz, but every single time that, actually, I'll just let him, I won't finish it for him, but, or I will. We use it for every time. Every time there's something that happens, we use it. Dispatch will do it for us right away. So if the officers are going out in the field, typically the officers will say to the dispatcher, can you check cameras, the flock cameras, or the vehicle we're looking for, white vehicle, roof rack, sticker on the back. We have a partial plate, we'll put a partial plate in. So we're using them for just about every call that we're going on, whether it be a hit and run, a burglary, stolen package, because we're getting that type of information for a lot of these. What was the third one? So there was an app before where Ring, people with Ring could share it, and there's a law enforcement like portal. But yeah, they can share it with a variety of different ways, whether they text it to us, they send it through a link. Chief touched on it, but what happens a lot of times is when people want to report stuff, they'll do it to well, these be smp.us, but to our general mailbox. We don't want that to happen. What we want someone to do is call in and let us know, and they can send it like to our dispatcher's cell phone. But we don't want them just randomly sending it in because it's not monitored. So it does come in, we do see it, but in the event it's important and time sensitive, we don't want somebody just sending a link to us because we want to see it right away. We do get those random things where there's a subject or a suspect at the front door. They might be stealing decorations. They might be trying to break in. They might be under the influence. They not know where they're at. Leave their home. We've had that happen lots of times where they leave their home. They're trying to open the door. They're just at the wrong house. Ring is useful. Of course, your own personal systems are useful. You can send it to a variety of different ways. It can be through email, it can be through the dispatcher's cell phone. It's just a call away. All you do is call dispatch and say, hey, I have some video that I want you guys to see. It's of, whatever, guy walking on my property. First thing you're gonna ask, well, when did that happen? So it's important in the context of when was that person walking on the property? When were they at the doorstep? And I think you had one last one, fourth one. So that is a thing. Have we come across any in our city? No, but I think they're being used, yes. I mean, that's just my assumption. If there's not a car out sitting and watching you leave, there's probably a camera. And as close as Pasadena and Arcadia, our local agencies around us, they have actually recovered or come across this. So someone had brought us gardening things like that. It doesn't work, so if you don't have your own garden, you can garden.
Neighborhood block.
Is how to look at this, because what they're doing is doing like, already in different Wi-Fi enabled types of devices that work on cellular, service.
Together.
So that all they do is when you find out you're at work, they plant this across the street, point it toward your house. Monitor it for a day, and when they see your activities or when you're gone, and they're monitoring it, because all they do is access it through the, Wi-Fi or cellular. Then they'll know when you're gone. So are they being used? Yeah, I haven't caught any of our common or city now, but I suspect they're being used.
Well, that's what I know this is pretty good, but I didn't add. He thought that would be fair, and not be with regard to homeless people that might be wanted for.
So the homeless question, there's a right to rest, but when they're on your private property, that's where we can actually do something. So in a public place, people have a right to rest. When they're on your private property, that is when they're trespassing, when they have no business with your residence, whether they're using your garden hose, knocking on the door, walking around the backyard. That's where they're trespassing, right? So that is where we can really make an impact. There's still all the, you can't urinate in public, you can't drink in public, all that kind of stuff. So we do get called on that. If the person is homeless and they're doing those types of things, I would suggest that you just call and we'll come out of it. So.
I talked to you earlier about the map site. So I hope they will go back online because, in the past, when they did work, I was able to predict that something was gonna happen within a week or two of it happening. And then I notified my neighbors. So no crime maps, and then, when we got the invitation for this event, they responded by saying, hey, we need more information, we want to connect all the neighborhood watch captains. So I really hope that happens, because we're the ones that are actually kind of doing the work for everybody that is in our neighborhood. And my block is terrific. Everybody calls me, I kind of call myself the crime concierge. And I'm like, sometimes when there's a homeless sighting, I'm like, call the police, don't call me. And then, I would like to see a quarterly or biannual neighborhood watch captains meeting. And in the past, I have asked for a meeting place. We had a Zoom last, like a month or two ago. And maybe I could alternate between like a Zoom and a real life meeting. We recently went to a neighbor's meeting, and it was like cocktail hour. So it wasn't terribly productive. It was productive, but the focus was more on the whining and dining. So, I mean, it was nice. but I just think that in particular, when it works, it really does work, the neighborhood watch. And we are really tight on my block, but Twin Canyon is like almost a mile. And I just signed up two newer neighbors because, we age out eventually. And then my block is really good about communicating and getting on top of things and reporting, and then we kind of piece together all the information. So our neighbor recently had their car cover stolen, and then I think she got nailed. Which officer was it? She was great. So she included all the information, different video camera footage. It really worked. I don't think they caught anybody, but now they're trying down their car covers. Thank you.
We'll definitely work on the crime map. That's been an ongoing issue, as you know, but I'm glad you appreciate the map itself. As far as the captain's meeting, we were doing them like annually for a while, many years ago. Location wise, what do you?
Here, have this available, so a block can be here as opposed to somebody's house. I go to it, the neighborhood watch group.
Yeah.
To take it away from the whining and dining perhaps, just, have a location in the city.
Oh, great, thank you.
I'm just curious if there's any option to make city meeting space available to neighborhood watch groups. I think that's.
That's what we just said, yes.
You're talking about the meeting of all the neighborhood block captains.
No, she's talking about. for
Someone
her
is asking.
Oh, for your block. Because that's
Is
what I
there
thought
any
was a big.
concern or anticipation that sanctuary of Santos will begin spilling into neighboring communities?
If I can stop right now,
Concerned
you just ask us, we'll make sure it's done.
Sanctuary Los Angeles.
And instead, if you don't want it at home, please let us know and we will take care of it. We sponsor meetings before the city, so.
What is the requirement have a block camera?
Block captain? Oh, I'll talk to you, there's a whole lot involved, I'll talk to you right when we're done. There's a little bit more involved. Jesse, you wanna talk about the hidden cameras?
Really quick, just to piggyback on the hidden cameras. Here I'm holding a $25 indoor outdoor camera. You can buy it on Amazon. The larger device, that's a battery pack, wireless battery pack, that's $30. And a mobile hotspot, that's $50 up to $300 for the better ones. So these burglary professionals are using these devices, taking them up, making them waterproof, and then covering up with fake foliage. So talk to your gardeners, check your front lawns, tell your neighbors, check your lawns. This is basically their technology that they're hiding in people's lawns to keep track of, your daily business. It takes, under $200 to make something. We'll park a block away, far enough to have some kind of service to the hotspot. They'll download video, watch you, and earn your routines. Thank you.
Yes. Only a couple more questions.
Yeah.
It's getting late for everybody.
By the way, tonight I present this meeting, actually two purpose. One is for my own safety. Another purpose, I'm the board president for the Manila Unified School District. So I always, when I'm available, I always come to the city meeting, see what I can bring up to the school parent community. So I think this is a very important issue. So I will work with our school district executive, see how they can deliver this kind of issue question to motivate for the parents, student parents to participate for the meeting in the future. Thank you for host this meeting. Don't frustrate even not too many people actually. I think that this city safety issue always the most important. I think that they care, but they just some reason they don't come. Yeah, we need to continue to have this meeting. Yeah, thank you.
Mary?
And along the same lines, thank you, Joseph. It would be great if we could get him the slides and the information. If there is going to be a meeting, also push it through to our school district so parents are aware of the number of eyes on it. So I was just thinking that along the same lines to get more people turning out for maybe in January or February, whenever the police and feel that it would be a good time to do it and redo this meeting and get more people. We can all agree that we're going to bring 3 of our friends, even if they're not your neighbors. I get 3 other residents here, then just by multiplying this group, we have 45 or 50 people. So it should really be people who are always bringing somebody, and I'm guilty as well. I did call one other person, try to get him here, but I think that should be something we should all do. And if it's not on your block, it still benefits somebody else in town. So reach out to those people and say it's an hour and a half, but it could save somebody a lot of hassle and a lot of pain if they're breaking in a home or a neighbor. Thank you.
I just want to, in closing, just say thank you all very much for coming. We truly appreciate your comments, your ideas, your thoughts, the exchange of information. I want to thank my detective unit that's here. I want to thank my patrol folks and everybody else who's taken the time to stay here just to make sure you understand that it's important for us. We do take this serious. And I mean, the detectives have been working hard and doing a lot of different things. And some things we just can't tell you because they're not just active investigations here, but in several other jurisdictions. So we've got to be mindful of what they're trying to get accomplished and then what we're trying to be accomplished. But we are working together. It's going to go well. Thank you.
See you. Holiday.